Hi, my name is A.C. Ross. I'm one of the adjunct faculty members here at USF, and I'm one of the co-authors of the book Advising Entrepreneurs that you're about to read. I've been a management consultant here in the Valley for about 30 years, although I have spent about 10 years of my time working in large corporations like Sun Microsystems or as an acting vice president for some large corporations. So I've actually done entrepreneurial work as an intrapreneur working inside a large corporation. Worked briefly for John Doerr at Sun Microsystems. Brilliant man, was a venture capitalist at that time and is now the preeminent venture capitalist in the Valley. I also worked briefly for Eric Schmidt, who went on to be one of the senior executives at Google. So I've seen how sausage is made inside the factory. That's in the booklet. There are two lessons I want you to take away before I turn this over to Dave Epstein, who wrote the majority of the book, and that is that the lessons that you find in the book are broadly applicable to any size of organization. If you're advising an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter whether it's an individual starting a company or an individual who is working in a very large organization. The way you work with that entrepreneur is very much the same. The other is that no matter what kind of consulting project you've got, I'm speaking as a consultant now, the best way for you to approach your project is as an advisor, as a collaborator with your client, not as a vendor, not as someone who is an adversary trying to convince your client what to do, but as an advisor who you want to work with as a peer. That said, I'm going to hand it over to Dave Epstein. Thanks.
Thank you, AC. Hi, this is Dave Epstein. I'm an engineer by training, actually, and I went on from an engineer to a manager in a large company and then into entrepreneurial things to do. I was a founding CEO of a couple of companies, and then I went on to be a venture capitalist, and from there I've been now doing advising and consulting, and I teach here at USF as a adjunct faculty member as well. I enjoyed writing this book with AC as we endeavored to take a look at advising entrepreneurs, which is kind of an unusual thing to see. There are lots of books that are written on consulting for large companies. There are major consulting companies. But when you look at the number of articles or books written for entrepreneurial advising, I don't think you're going to find very many. So AC and I addressed this problem, and it's one of those things where as an entrepreneur you might start 100 companies and do well on a couple, or maybe you can get an advisor to help you who's seen 100 companies and actually do a little bit better in your time and possible success. So our book actually addresses advising from a stage perspective. We take a look at very early at the inception of a company and what an advisor might do, and then moving on to funding the company, growing the company, and eventually getting to a point where the company can become a M&A exit or an IPO, so a public offering or a merger or acquisition. We also, in the book, address large companies. As AC was talking, he has a lot of experience in doing entrepreneurial activities inside a large company, and those are very interesting, in fact, to help larger companies become more entrepreneurial. We also address issues of conflict, which always happens with entrepreneurs, and we even give you a roadmap of 10 things that you should do as an entrepreneurial advisor to make you more successful. We talk about the business of advising as well and give you some understanding of the business models. So we hope you enjoy the book quite a bit and enjoy not only the entrepreneurial side of things, but the advising side of things. Thank you.